Hey, what's up, guys? How are we doing? Ladies, gents, boys, girls, whatever you want to identify as, if you will. Welcome back to the YouTube channel and welcome back to this playlist. Within this playlist, we have been reading The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. I apologize, I don't have the book cover with me tonight, but in some of my other videos I do if you're looking for that. If you are new to the program, this is a playlist that I've created to where I read a book a month and I break down chapter by chapter, just kind of read and discuss concepts and explore and expand on concepts. So you guys can read with me and follow along and share your input, which would be great. And all of this can be found on my YouTube channel. And generally speaking, it's best used for the whole playlist. So then that way you can essentially read with me from start to finish, which would be ideal. Or if there's specific chapters within the book that you're interested in, I have those individually broken down. So one caveat, I'm not going to read directly to you word for word. I'm trying to do my best to kind of preempt what we're going to be talking about per each chapter, but just to you guys have some context on that. So we are going to continue to roll within the third section of the book called Will. This episode, we're going to be talking about building your inner citadel, which will be exciting to talk about. One more quick thing before we launch. If you are someone who likes to read, if you are someone that likes to improve themselves, someone that is open-minded, and someone that is looking for maybe an accountability partner, if you will, I love to do this. I want to inspire people to read more, read everything. It doesn't have to be personal development books. It just so happens the first book that I decided to read was a personal development book. As you can see back here, I read quite a bit, love good literature, and there are going to be many, many books to come. So by subscribing, you're obviously going to get updated by me on what we're reading and what we're covering. So looking for awesome human beings who love getting better and have, again, an open mind. So anyways, back to build your inner citadel. So this strategy is the second strategy in Will. And what we're talking about here is a lever point or a tool in the tool belt, if you will, on facing obstacles. And so one incredible advantage to overcoming obstacles is to build your inner citadel. A citadel is a fortified area of a town or city. Oftentimes, they are spiritual or sacred. People use them to obtain strength and power to regenerate themselves for battle, either internal or external. For the best chance at overcoming obstacles, we must build an inner citadel. Okay. So, in essence, what we're talking about here is building something within us, both mentally, spiritually, and physically, that we can consistently come to on a daily basis where we can derive strength, we can derive emotional healing, we can derive spiritual connection, all of these things. But the beauty of this concept is we can go to a physical place, but we want it to be internal. That way it's always with us, if you will. So, that is kind of the point of reference we're using with obstacle fighting. During good times in life, we must strengthen ourselves, which strengthens our inner citadel. That way, when obstacles arise, we have the source of strength and regeneration to draw from. So the next layer to it is when in good times, we should be continuing to strengthen our borders, if you will. That way, in bad times, we have that defense built up and we can access it. Because things will happen to us. Life demands an answer. How we train and fortify in good times exposes how well we handle life. So, very straightforward, very simple, but I want us to really kind of reflect on that. And personally, for me, to just expand a little bit. So, for me, I do work out physically quite often, both cardiovascularly and strength training. And I feel that though the end result is to have a strong physical body, you're training your mind to suffer. And it's voluntary suffering, and it's very positive because then when these obstacles do come up, you have the ability to work through them with physical strength. Now, a great thing about working out, especially cardiovascular, is it strengthens the mind as well. And oftentimes we do need the strengthening of the mind to create the ability to have stamina, to endure life's obstacles. So you can combine all of that into then having your spiritual practice, whether you are Christian, Muslim, whatever, Buddhist. All three of those kind of create the inner citadel, if you will. So the physical training, the mental training, and the spiritual training, all of that is what we're trying to develop on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. So just so we're very, very clear. Now, to wrap this specific strategy up, we are going to visit the book, page 134 to 135, and we're going to introduce a man that is very well known in American history, and that is Mr. Theodore Roosevelt. So, by the age of 12, Teddy Roosevelt had spent almost every day of his short life struggling with horrible asthma. Despite his privileged birth, his life hung on a precarious balance. The attacks were almost nightly and near-death experiences. The slightest exertion would upset the balance and leave him bedridden for weeks. One day, his father came in his room and delivered a message that would change the young boy's life. Theodore, you have the mind, but not the body. I'm giving you the tools to make the body. It's going to be hard and drudgery, and I think you'll have the determination to go through it. And you'd think that would offend him. However, they gave him great inspiration. At the gym his father had built on the second floor porch, young Roosevelt proceeded to work out feverishly every day for the next 5 years, slowly building the muscle and strengthening his upper body against his weak lungs for the future. By his early 20s, the battle against asthma was nearly over. He'd worked almost literally that weakness out of his body. That's why I bring up the physical advantage there. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor on some of that stuff, so I'm not sure how it translates. However, I love the mindset of getting in the gym and getting after it. The gym work prepared a physically weak but smart young boy for the unique challenging course in which the nation and the world would embark on. Obviously, he becomes president. It was the beginning of his preparation for and fulfillment of what he would call a strenuous life. And for Roosevelt, life threw a lot at him. He lost his wife and his mother in rapid succession. He faced powerful, entrenched political enemies who despised his progressive agenda and was defeated in elections. The nation was embroiled in foreign wars, and he survived nearly fatal assassination attempts. But he was equipped for it all because of his early training and because he kept at it every single day. Good question here. Are you similarly prepared? Can you actually handle yourself if things suddenly were to get worse? Take weakness for granted. Or we take weakness for granted, sorry. We assume that the way we're born is the way we are, that our disadvantages are permanent, and that we atrophy from there. That's not necessarily the best recipe for difficult life. Not everyone accepts their bad start in life. They remake their bodies and their lives with activities and exercise. They prepare themselves for the hard road. So that is what we will conclude on. And I also bring that up in the sense of, if you've never thought about that, definitely think about it. But also, if you have maybe gotten off the rocker a little bit, strongly consider getting back in, because a strong mind and a strong body are what we really truly need to face life's obstacles. So thank you guys for tuning in to this specific strategy, and let us continue into the third strategy, which I will not reveal, but let's keep reading, guys.